So between the three of us, we've been practicing chaos magic for about 30 years. Elvex has been doing it probably the longest of the three of us, me, and then Qurok is fairly new. My name is Soror Inania. I came to chaos magic around 2017. I'd been a solitary practitioner of a lot of different paradigms since I was a teenager. I did a lot of experimentation with psychedelics, yoga, pranayama, kind of the normal teenage stuff. And then a friend of mine recommended Null, and I read it. It was like, huh, I'm intrigued. And then I've got hooked from there. And my personal practice is very look at it in the body. I do a lot of dance. I do a lot of laughing, a lot of invocation, and devotional magic as well. Sex magic, of course. Which one of you guys want to go?
Sure. I'm Elvex. Yeah, I started practicing chaos magic about 20 years ago. I do a variety of things. I do a lot of technology-oriented things, a lot of technomancy stuff.
Say more.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess when we get out of the introductions, I'll have a lot to say about myself. Yeah.
So I'm Qurok. I've been doing this for a little over a year. So out of these two, very new to it. I came from a background where it's like, oh, I don't believe in magic at all. It's very silly. Like I'm like STEM based, right? But I kept having these weird occurrences that seemed a little bit magical. Then I met this person as I was like learning more and more about all sorts of different spiritualities. So diving into everything from like Christianity, Islam, like Kabbalah, just like reading about it, learning more about the histories, and then trying to figure out what was out there. So now I practice mostly Goetia, so Goetic work. I also do energy magic as well. And I've been getting into pranayama as well. Just kind of like a mishmash of a bunch of different open practices.
Yeah. So format-wise, thank you all for coming, by the way. We just introduced ourselves. We thought we'd talk a little bit about chaos magic. Obviously, you're here, I think, because you're interested in that topic. And I think we'll have quite a bit of time for questions. If folks have questions, anything specific they want to know or are curious about. Get to know you all maybe a little. And then we'll have a little ritual that we'll do that together for those who want to participate. That will demonstrate. Do I need to project? Might be too quiet.
We're trying to get it a little bit closer here.
That will illustrate some of the stuff that we've talked about. Sound cool?
Okay, history lesson.
You back on it.
No, not me. Come on.
So, how many of you are familiar with chaos magic? Sure.
Everybody.
Great.
Oh, very nice.
So we can stay in class.
Yeah. For those of you, let's kind of feel this out. For those of you who are familiar with it, how many of you sort of practiced it?
Okay.
Just curious about it. Chaos curious. Okay. How many of you practice some other form of magic or occultism? Like the mischievous grin. Cool. Okay. So, yeah, just briefly, chaos magic originated in primarily in England and Germany in the late 1970s, early 1980s. There were a few things happening at that time. There were particularly groups of magicians in Germany and groups of magicians in England who were experimenting with different things, like coming out of the 1970s. There were events such as this where folks would get together and talk occult subjects, and people like Ramsey Dukes, Lionel Snell was around during that period and stuff like that. And then there were a couple of folks in particular, Peter Carroll and Ray Sherwin, who Ray had a publication called The New Equinox, named after the publication Equinox. And they certainly had some interest in phonemic magic, and but they also were really into Austin Spare and some other stuff, and were just experimenting, improvising, doing some weird things like we did in the 70s. And they decided to start their own occult group called the Illuminates of Thanateros. It was originally I won't get too much into the history about it, but it was originally sort of I don't want to say it was like the occult correspondence courses like you would get through Builders of the Item or something, but originally they had published an advertisement in the New Equinox saying, hey, we're the IoT. It didn't say, hey, we're the IoT. I don't remember what it said verbatim, but it was more like, the inheritors of sorceries of Sauce and all that kind of cool stuff. And what they would do is they had a program of study that aspirants would do for 6 months. They'd be like, here's what you're going to do for 6 months. Journal your daily work, send it back to us, and if it looks like we'll get on, then join the club. Anyway, out of that, Chaos Magic wasn't yet called Chaos Magic when they started that. In fact, I think the first version of Liber Null may not have even used the word Chaos Magic. Eventually, though, the term caught on for a couple of reasons. A lot of people, I think, certainly I've met a lot of people in my time who associate Chaos Magic with disorder and anarchy because of the word chaos. Certainly, there are people out there who are able to be creative by thinking of it in that way. At the time, there were a couple of reasons that they were using the word, but one of the main ones was just as a kind of antithesis to the concept of cosmos. So am I going too much?
I don't know. I mean,
I can go.
does anyone have any questions yet?
Well,
Or
okay. So I'll just wrap that with
let's just
and
wrap
then
that up.
So just as an understanding of what the term chaos magic meant originally, it's come to mean lots of different things to different people, of course. But yeah, the idea was that that there wasn't any one cosmos that was true, right? Like humans have created various cosmologies all throughout the course of humanity, and similarly, different cultures of people throughout all of history have practiced different kinds of magic, and part of what these guys were on about was the idea that people all around the world practice magic, and they all have different ideas about what magic is and how magic works and what are the necessary ingredients and etc. And so assuming that they are all getting results of some kind, right? They make them continue to practice magic. There must be something about practicing magic that transcends any particular magical ontology or cosmology or belief system, right? And so that was why they used the word chaos as an antithesis.
Yeah. And I think that leads into the next thing that I thought we could talk about, which is, come on in, enter, please. Entree.
Is the door locked?
No.
It's my friend right there.
Sit down. Oh,
No, that was like, what's it
you can later. Okay, so the next thing I was going to talk about is what makes chaos magic different from other systems, and that is largely that it isn't really a system. It's more of a technology to approach magical things. And that, to me, is that the only thing that's really necessary for your magic to work is the belief that it's going to work. And you can use whatever gods you want. And that's why there's so much talk, if you look online, of people using like the Marvel universe as their paradigm, or My Little Ponies, or whatever. Because if you believe in the magic, that is the main tool that gets the magic to function. And that's why a lot of chaos magicians will have multiple different paradigms that they're working in. Dave Lee, who wrote a bunch of books back here, talks about how sometimes your belief starts to falter after using something and getting results. And so he finds it useful to switch into a new paradigm so that you can refresh the sense of believing that this is going to work again. So I think there's a sense that chaos magic was a thing in the 70s, 80s, 90s, and that it's kind of like not so much a thing anymore. But I think that it can be applicable to whatever kind of space you're working in magically. The tools that chaos magic can provide can be applicable to any paradigm.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's more relevant than it's ever been, honestly. I mean, with the internet that we have, well, what is it? The accessibility with the internet that we have, and like all of these ideas merging together, like culturally, I think that chaos magic could have, I mean, it's already established its foothold and now it's kind of already running wild. You know, you could just like reach out and like pick all these different concepts and put them together and like develop your own practice very easily. Cause it's like, if you're trying to figure out, you know, how to do like if what I do, like Goetia, for instance, like just one line of thought, how do I do that, but then incorporate My Little Pony into it, which is not saying that that's what I would do, but it's just a humorous, you know,
Yes.
Somebody online was asking simply chaos theory.
oh,
I don't know math, sorry.
Um,
I'm not sure.
there are originally chaos magic did not have anything to do with chaos theory, no, but eventually the two did coincide. There have been a few people who have written about that. Jack Hawkins writes about that in some of her books. It's, yeah, I mean, I don't really know what to say about it. I mean, Carol got very mathy with his version of chaos magic, and I appreciate what he did. A lot of people don't. I like it, but there are certain things from chaos magic, chaos theory, chaos mathematics, that sometimes get appropriated for chaos magic things, such as the butterfly effect, right? Where a small change in a variable over here can have, because of the nature of dynamical systems, can have a large effect somewhere else or further down the time series. But again, these are all ideas that are not necessarily true, right? Like, I think frankly, I don't think anyone really knows how magic works. That's and there are, even within chaos magic, there are a lot of theories about how it works, and there is a lot of but it's a lot of conjecture. And I mean, even with Carol, who has attempted to create a fairly robust mathematical theory of magic based on contemporary knowledge of physics, and I think it's laudable to some degree. I don't think it actually makes magic that much more scientific. It just uses science and the ontology of science to make magic seem more contemporary.
Or it's like, for instance, like just as a side hobby, I like to read books about neuroscience and neurobiology. So like if, you take sort of magical ideas and you understand how these certain little cells work, you could turn your rituals into something that understand how these cells function. So you could use like an intuitive knowledge when you're trying to produce something out of this ritual, where it's like, okay, maybe this cell, its issue is that it won't die. It's not that you want to put more life force like into this overall functioning, but that this thing needs to learn how to rest, right? So if you want to do a ritual centered around something like that, you could be like, okay, well, let's center these sort of like, let's rest, come like unwind or wind down during this ritual. Let's bring that energy into it, directed at these cells, right? So that's like an instance of like taking two very different things, like meshing science and with, sort of more magical thinking, where it's like, this is not necessarily something that's proven or could be measured, but it's intuitive. And maybe it'll work for you, or maybe you'll do it once, it'll never work again. Or maybe, this is something that you could replicate with other people. And that does happen sometimes. It's about experimenting.
It's very experimental. It's very idiosyncratic.
Yeah. Does anyone have any burning questions?
Is there anything? Yeah.
Yeah.
anything-
How would you differentiate it from just like eclecticism?
Great question.
I think that it's not necessarily different personally. I think that anyone can have an eclectic practice, and kind of the thing I did before I came to chaos magic, and I think that's why it felt like such a natural shift to me, because a lot of the ideas that I learned about were things that I had already been doing. Like that happens, I think, to a lot of us that practice magic. You pick up a book and you're like, oh, I've been doing that for 5 years. Like I figured this out before I read the book, and now somebody else is telling me to do it. Awesome. That must mean it's real, right? So I don't think that there's necessarily a big difference. I think that it's just a framework to work, to kind of like direct your use of certain magical tools. I don't know if that makes sense.
Also like an emphasis on gnosis.
Yeah,
Would you say?
I would say that a lot of us use,
Altered states of mind.
yeah, like
Self-induced.
like getting into an altered or elevated state of mind within our magic, whether that is through the use of chemicals, breath work, meditation, lifting weights till you throw up. There's a lot of ways to get there.
Mhm.
Greek Libernal, he's got like a list, and there's even more than that list in that book.
Yeah, whatever gets you to that point of like no thought or like single-minded focus.
Jacking off on sigils, for example.
Yeah, the most. What
The
is
most common chaos magic practice.
Yeah.
I have a slightly different response to the question. For me, the difference between eclectic magic and chaos magic. For me, chaos magic is fundamentally three things. It's ontologically flexible, meaning that it is not contingent on nor hidebound to any particular set of entities. It's ideologically critical, so it asks a lot of questions about the validity and reality of things, and it's to the point of gnosis. It's epistemologically radical, right? So it does tend to as a kind of magical technology, it does tend to favor extraordinary and often extreme states of consciousness. But I think that an eclectic practice, like you can be an eclectic magician, right? And pick things up here and there, but continue believing that those things are the real truth, right? Like they're coming from different places. They may be very syncretic, but I think for like really philosophically, chaos magic would not. What was that? Go ahead.
Oh, okay. So, well, I just like thought about something. So, what is it? I feel like with eclecticism, right? It's like the belief, or no, the power comes from the system of this like established belief system. Whereas with chaos magic, it's more the power comes from my belief in the system. So it's using the belief as a tool. Yeah.
There's actually within chaos magic. So you hear the term paradigm in chaos magic all the time, right? From Thomas Kuhn, his theory of scientific paradigm shift. And then Josh Wetzel published the book Paradigm of Pirate. There is a practice that some folks within chaos magic enact where you select a paradigm at random and you practice it until you get results with it. And then you go through a process of annihilating that paradigm. And then you choose another one and you go like rinse and repeat. And the idea there is that you are trying to experience or get in touch with that thing that does magic that is not, again, not contingent on the system itself.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
We had two questions online. First, do you guys like to work with servitors? And if so, what are some of the creative ways you've had success?
I can speak to this.
Really good guys.
Okay, so for those who do not know, a servitor is basically a magic robot that you tell to do things and it does them for you. That's as simple as I can put it. The creation is similar to sigil creation. It requires a lot more energy to power the servitor at first, but then once it's charged up, in my experience, they can get you results indefinitely. So I have a fairly big Twitter account now, but when I first started this, I did not. I made a servitor because I had heard about this thing called FinDom, which is financial domination. And I was like, that sounds fun. People just giving me money for no reason. I want to do that, but I don't want to have to think about it or try it all. So I created a servitor to funnel to my account people who would just want to hand me money for no reason and then not talk to me. And it worked. I have made literally thousands of dollars. I have like screenshots of it on my Twitter just from men being like, oh, you're pretty online. Here's plane tickets to Brazil. So magic results.
Okay. Another
Second question is, I've had people ask me what the difference is between chaos magic and the law of attraction are. What are your thoughts on this?
I have
I'm like, what do I even
I
start
have
with that?
thoughts.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I'm still thinking.
Okay.
Yeah.
To me, I think the secret and the law of attraction and that stuff starts to get close. But for me personally, a huge part of the magic that I've done that has gotten results requires that altered state of consciousness, that like heightened, intense elevation of my consciousness in combination with like a very strong focus of my intent. So I think the law of attraction is basically just like, I'm vision boarding a mansion. Okay, I'm done. And if it were chaos magic, it would be like, okay, well, I'm maybe vision boarding a mansion. And then I'm going to do some really intense something to get myself, to work myself into this altered state of consciousness. And then when I'm at the peak of this altered state of consciousness, I'm going to focus all of my energy, all of my will into a symbol of this mansion that I want.
Mhm.
And then I'm going to stop caring about it.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to think about the mansion anymore. And if the mansion arises, it does.
Yeah, it's like maybe this worked, maybe that was all for nothing. You know, but the ritual can be very, intuitive, or it's like instead of just a vision board, you could be like, okay, I'm going to do this house where it's like I'm building the mansion while I'm dancing, I'm decorating the mansion while I'm dancing, or
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or like a path working.
Yeah, we're-
Or build a little
Mhm.
figure of it.
Instead
or
of-
whatever.
yeah,
It doesn't
instead
have to be a vision board.
But because chaos magic also doesn't really know how magic works, a lot of people do have the experience of having the intention to do magic work, and then about something, and then say that, yeah, and then something,
Something happens.
and then results.
the results might happen before
Before you do
the
the
ritual
magic.
even happens, but then you have to do the ritual. So yeah, because if you don't, it might come undone. You know, time doesn't work just forward.
Any other questions?
Did we cover the servitor stuff enough? I don't know if we.
Yeah.
I
Did
just
that
kind
feel
of
answered?
ran through it.
Did you have something else to say on servitors?
I just didn't know if we had satisfied the clearance curiosity.
Well, I'm kind of curious how that plays into your practice with Goetia.
Oh,
Because
with
are they
servitors and Goetia?
basically not servitors of some sort?
That's
I
interesting.
wouldn't like that.
Yeah, ooh, I know, being compared to a robot.
Well,
Well-
I don't know if I would have gone robot with the servitors, but
Right.
yeah,
So I mean, that also brings in, oh, sorry, go
I
ahead.
was going to say having something that you're working with that's working in conjunction with for your benefit.
Right. So that like brings into question, like, what is a robot? What is an egregore? What is a god? Are you a god? You know, self-deification. Or do you want to be more just plain mundane, like you're a human? This is a deity. You're worshiping them. Your reality is like what you want it to be. Ultimately, that's like what chaos magic is all about. It's like, you know, do you want to be healthier in life? Would you like to wear more colorful colors? Would you like to live in a mansion? You know, things like that. It's like just
Clearly, we didn't get the colorful colors.
no, yeah.
Get the memo, sorry.
But just like do rituals that kind of help you work towards what you want your own reality to be. So I feel like I'm getting off of track here. We had the servitors, we had the egregores, we had Goetia. So how they differentiate. Sorry, I'm trying. This is how my brain works. I have ADHD. Okay. Anyways, so I think that Goetia, in my mind, I'm like, how do I even break this down? It's such a vast.
Well, I
topic.
also do devotional magic, and I work with an entity that I would not call a servitor.
No.
And I would feel like it would be rude to refer to her as such.
Yeah.
I think that that's just a current personal belief.
Mhm.
But a servitor is something of my own creation, and I think you could absolutely elevate a servitor to the status of a tulpa or a god that would be equivalent to working with like a goetic entity or a god or goddess. I just think it would be, to me, the difference would be how much energy has gone into that entity. The reason that people get results when they work with deities, I think, is because the deities have absorbed all of this worship and energy over decades or centuries.
Yes. Yeah.
So they have
Oh.
more pull
Yeah.
than like your little servitor
Yeah.
that's just gonna get like horny guys to talk to you online.
So I actually have a really good point that I just remembered to this now. Okay, so here's like something, for instance. I first started working with Belial, right? And I received the name to me in a meditation. I didn't know what Belial was about. I knew nothing about Goetia. I had to work backwards and kind of figure out, first of all, who is this? What is this entity? Okay, I finally got a name. And then I started learning more about it. I went into the origins, like the linguistic origins of Belial. And so if you look at like proto-Christians, some of those people would use the word Belial to describe people who wore colorful clothes and who would party and who would be loud and boisterous. And the Stoics at the time really looked down on that. And then I looked into the history of like, these demons before Christianity, known as daemons at the time by the ancient Greeks. And everyone during that time thought of daemons as like these either negative, positive, neutral beings, right? So you could have your own personal daemons, and like Socrates had his own daemon, personal daemon that he talked about. So they're kind of like these entities that they worked with and talked to. And so I feel like that bringing it back to Goetia, it's like, okay, so what is Belial as a concept, as a word, as an entity, as a god, as people think about him through a Christian lens, as they think about them through a contemporary lens. So it's like, it's this huge, massive thing that has a huge like depth and history to it, right? So I feel like that's a lot different than like a servitor that you're like, oh, like collect all of my bad thoughts for me. You know, and you just made it up the other day. I feel like it's very different.
There's a follow-up question here. The actual breakdown of the creation, there are many different ways, I guess, of creating a servitor. So I was wondering a creative way that has shown repeated results for the servitor creation.
I don't know about repeat. I don't really do the same thing more than once. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I get bored easily. That's the draw of chaos magic.
Yeah.
I think that if someone is interested in creating servitors, the first book that I read that I got a lot of inspiration from about servitor creation was Brain Magic. I think you recommended that to me ages ago.
So far.
Mm-hmm. And that takes a more like pseudo neuroscientific approach to the concepts of magic. And it's kind of related to self-hypnosis and things like that. But I found that some of the exercises in that book are very, very good for kind of getting into the beginning of creating a servitor, and then you can just get creative with it.
What was the title of that?
Brain Magic, and magic is spelled with a K.
Yeah, because folks have found them. Related to that, so Ramsey Dukes wrote a book called Uncle Ramsey's Little Book of Demons. It's a really good introduction, I think, philosophically to magical evocation within chaos magic milieu. And part of his thesis in this book is that we are social beings, right? And a lot of our brain power is used to, we are well adapted to being social. So by treating a magical object as, I'm reminded of Martin Buber's I-thou relationships, right? Like by treating a magical object such as a sigil as more than just a sigil, as more than just a symbol that represents your intent that you're going to manipulate in some way or charge in some way through some kind of alternate state of consciousness in order to cause it to manifest. You are to interact with that object of your desire or some trouble in your life or whatever it is as an entity, as something that has an intelligence of its own. You use parts of your brain that you could use at once. I think for me, I think the robot analogy makes sense, but also I think that some people treat servitors in a very trivial way. They treat them as magical slaves. The word servitor itself, right, is very slavish. But there are also people who approach servitors as having a kind of autonomy, treating them with sort of respect and sometimes devotional practices as a means of empowerment. Anyway, Dukes talks about that in his book, and I think that while there's not a direct correlation between Dukes's book and Farber's book, I think they complement each other really well, because Farber's sort of making a similar argument from a neuroscientific perspective.
Any other questions? Yeah.
I really like context. So when you were talking about history, I guess my first question is there a place or book that exists to learn that story?
Yeah, so there's a couple. Trying to remember the name of the author right now. His name escapes me. The History of British Magic after Crowley.
Yeah, sure.
That one has a pretty good essay in it about the origins of chaos magic. Dave Lee, who Anania mentioned earlier, Dave Lee gave a talk at Treadwell's maybe a year or two ago on the history of chaos magic. I think that was recorded and that you can find it online. That's a really good. Now that I'm saying this,
I feel like he's done some talks with Julian also, that those are on Julian's YouTube.
yeah, Julian Bain and Dave Lee. And Dave's great because, I mean, he was there. So a lot of it is anecdotal in a very charming way.
Love that.
Yeah.
Well, not to get ahead of myself because a lot of what I'm asking would be here, but you had mentioned in an aside that there's maybe a conception that like chaos magic is kind of like not like, I don't know, sexy or trendy or something. And I guess I'm curious if you could talk more about that.
I don't know that I would ever have phrased it quite that way. So I'm not sure what to say to that.
Yeah, fair enough.
I mean, I think there are a lot of kind of like conceptions of what chaos magic and chaos mages are and look like.
Okay.
And I think that they're really narrow. Like I think there is kind of a widespread kind of idea that chaos magics are kind of weird, mostly dudes, mostly really on the internet, mostly really jacking off onto sigils. Like, and I'm not going to say that people don't jack off to sigils all the time. They absolutely do. But there is a lot more to it than that. And we're not all internet dudes.
Yeah. So I'll attempt to answer your question this way. I think that certainly there's that. There are places online where chaos magic can be found, and chaos magic has always been very happy online. There are Facebook groups around chaos magic. There's a Reddit around chaos magic. And I don't know to what degree the things that are found on there jive with what I do. But certainly, I think within the greater circulation of our culture, did I just use that word non-ironically? Yes, I did. There are folks, folks who think that chaos magic is silly, or is like punk magic, which it can be, it sometimes is, or has become irrelevant, like I think Anania was talking about earlier, the idea that like sigil, like the thing that's associated with chaos magic, right, is jacking off the sigils, right? Like masturbating the sigils is like the most common chaos magic trope, and that attracts a kind of lowest common denominator of people who who want easy results in Magic and like masturbating. You know, there's probably a big demographic of people out there for which those two things intersect. And but they're not always the most intellectual people, the most philosophical people. And I don't know, I think I have certainly in the last 2 decades, I've seen a lot of comments made about chaos magic that there are people surprised to find that folks are doing it. They're like, oh, did that go out of vogue in the 90s? When it was like, there was a time when it was more avant-garde for sure. And like every avant-garde thing ever, like, the avant-garde can't remain avant-garde forever, or it wouldn't be the avant-garde, right? But that doesn't mean that what was avant-garde about it loses value. It just transforms. I think chaos magic has transformed in a lot of different ways over the years. But the chaos magic per se is not super well known. Like everybody knows who Bruce Lee is. Not a lot of people really know the philosophy of Jeet Kune Do, right? They haven't studied Bruce Lee, right? And a lot of people have heard about chaos magic. They're like, oh yeah, I use sigils. Everybody uses sigils in magic now. Austin Spare's method of sigilization got very popular, partly because of chaos magic, but also partly on Spare's own merits. And there's been excellent scholarship about Spare in the last 20 years. So anyway.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is all new to me. And the reason I'm here is because I think it was like 1987. My uncle gave me a pin.
Yeah.
That was the chaos sign. I was 7 years old. I thought it was cool shit.
I agree.
And I still have it. And for the last 35 years, I really didn't know what that was until somebody who told me she was a witch said, chaos magic. I'm like, what is that? And she's like, I was like, I've been wearing this. That's what it is. And she's like, yeah. So then when I found out about this thing, I was like, oh, interesting.
Okay.
So I'm trying to get around the curve here on what's going on. You're talking about altered states in order to engage. You're talking about even making some kind of some kind of a contact or some kind of relationship with an entity of some kind, whether it's something that is existed in time or something that you fabricate. I'm also curious, like problem solving, like what is the solution that chaos magic brings into someone's life? And how does
so many, endless.
Yeah, I'm curious about those things. I'm also wondering, do you have to be in altered state? Is there a mindset that you can hold in just being in an alert state and how you engage with the world? Just curious about the spectrum of how one could start, I guess, I don't know, I wouldn't say like adapting to it, but being more aware of it.
Sure. So I'd say one of the cool things about chaos magic is that if you are looking to solve problems in your life, it's like completely adaptable. If you are like, oh, I need to get more confident at work. I know I'd get promotion if I could just get more confident and be able to speak up more. You can do work around that. And some of that might be like work that would look like therapy. And some of it might be work that would look like magic. And some of it is this just both together. But I think magic, any kind of magic, can help you with personal growth and problem solving and that type of stuff.
I mean, it might help you learn all sorts of things about yourself you didn't expect to be quite honest, especially when you're talking about paradigm shifting. Like, I've done the Goetia work. At one point I was asked to cease it completely and just try to fly, like without any of that, and just see what happened. And I was really surprised, to figure out how much I could do by myself and to really learn about the nature of magic itself, like through that process of giving up everything that I had put so much work into equating with the divine. So, yeah.
Did you have another question, Steve?
I do have a couple of them.
Okay.
Did Eastern traditions play a big role in the formation of chaos magic? And if so, what were some of the major sources?
Taoism. Yeah.
Also, if you read Liber Null, especially Liber MMM, that's like the introductory work of the novice of the IoT, requires what we know today as Vipassana meditation, sitting motionless, trying to not think. There is tons of, I think, Carol's ideas in particular were
There's
just
also a lot of-
ripped directly from Eastern traditions.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that was also something that was just popular in occultism in England at the time, right? It's England. But what were we talking about?
Taoism,
Thank you.
Eastern tradition.
Buddhism also, particularly more recently, there's a lot of people who practice Buddhism and chaos magic in that kind of beautiful synchrony.
So quick question, or hopefully it's a quick question. We're working this out. So in that analogy of Taoism being a very early reference point for chaos magic to become a philosophy, the difference between spiritualism and religion, being religion being the house with the lights on, and spirit being the essence of the warmth of the home.
Yeah.
But the question ultimately is, if chaos magic doesn't seek to explain what magic is, between the three of you, do you see it more as a map or an address book? Because it seems that there's entities to converse with, there's energies in the ether, and there's also a do-it-yourself sort of guide where intuition seems to be guided in conversation with things. So there might be a false dichotomy between a map and an address book, but what do you have to say?
I think it's, to use that analogy,
Yeah.
I would say that it's primarily an attempt to figure out how to map from the philosophical perspective of understanding that the map is not the territory, right? Like ultimately, if there is a kind of mysticism to chaos magic, some folks are more mystical than others. It is, again, going back to what I was talking about with paradigm shifting, right? You practice the paradigm, then you annihilate the paradigm, rinse and repeat. Like you're trying to get in touch, you're trying to have an encounter with something that transcends the paradigm, right? It transcends the ontology. Mapping is very ontological practice, obviously. That said, there are tropes within chaos magic for sure. The chaos star is one of them, right? That is a fictional symbol, came from Michael Moorcock, right? In his novels about his fantastic novels about the war between the chaos gods. Like the alignment system in the Dungeons and Dragons role-playing game, right? The original alignment system where you had law and you had chaos comes from Moorcock, and it's the same idea. And it's the same stuff that these guys were kind of thinking about at the time that they were developing this idea of chaos magic. But again, it's often interpreted as an anything goes ethos, which it isn't necessarily really. But there are a handful of things for sure that become associated with chaos magic. Gnosis, like we've talked about, right? Altered states of consciousness, idiosyncrasy, doing things that make sense to you in your personal life rather than just following somebody else's dogma. But who can say to what degree any of us can do that purely, right? Like there's no pure version of any of this, right? Just the fact that we're talking about it. So
I think it's the car. It's not the map or the address book. Like
It's the what?
the car.
Oh,
You need a vehicle. It is the vehicle. It is not telling you how to get there. It's just allowing you to.
Who is it for?
sorry.
Who
Oh.
isn't it for?
Who
isn't it for?
Who isn't it for? Oh, people who are super into dogmas. For one thing.
Yeah.
Who are like, this is the one true way. Oh, no, absolutely not.
Did you have something else? Steve?
Yes, we had another question. Do you think people confuse chaos magicians for Discordians a lot?
And we have lots of Discordian chaos magicians in our midst.
Yeah.
Not here tonight, but I
I don't
know.
know. She might be here tonight. Eris. My choice just randomly came on.
So for the folks who aren't familiar with Discordianism, just briefly, right? Like, so Robert Anton Wilson and Bob Shea wrote Illuminates trilogy books back in the 80s, 70s, long time ago. Anyway, and out of that came this idea of Discordianism. There's a Discordian book, and yeah, the idea of the use of Eris, right? But like a appropriation of the Greek character Eris as a kind of contemporary goddess of chaos. Pete Carroll himself actually has a book about Eris, and yeah, so there have been a lot of associations between chaos magic and Discordianism. I'd say there are a lot of chaos magicians that don't have anything to do with Discordianism at all. And then there are several that do.
Yes.
You talk more about technomancy?
Can he? Oh, boy, you sure can.
Yeah. What do you want to know?
I don't know what that word means.
Oh, cool. So I mean, it's not my word.
I mean, I can infer a little.
Sure. So a lot of people mean different things by it. For me, I use computer technologies, robotics, electronics, and things as my artistic medium.
Tell me more about that. What do you mean specific?
Yeah, so I will build robots that perform rituals. I will use
What does that look like? If you give me an example.
yeah. I can actually give you an example based off of a chaos magic ritual. So within well, again, it's its own book. I had several thoughts all happen at once in my head. Let me sort those out. There's Peter Carroll created a ritual called the Uranus, right? Very quickly, Carroll has an idiosyncratic interpretation of the Greek sky god Oranos, becomes the astrological power, governance, whatever, Uranus, right? And so Carroll created a ritual where the magician invokes Oranos in Carroll's idiosyncratic interpretation, meaning it's like he will be a sorcerer and practice magic. And part of that, he also created
So sorry, is it too late for us to join? Okay then.
And technomancy.
technomancy. He created,
Uranus, right, robot.
yes, he created a part of that is, so another chaos magic trope is the Iranian barbaric language, which is so magic often has barbarous words in it, right? Nonsense words, abracadabra, etc., etc. And so Carroll created a system by which you can divine these words, and then there's a whole host of lexicons that are out there. Choyoflakwe is a popular one. It means to do the great work. It's Iranian barbaric great work. Anyway, I've done a robotic version of that, right? I have robots that perform the invocations, and then robots that select the letters of the words and generate the words. It's a way for me to look at the correspondences between generative art, particularly generative art through technology, computational technology, and the practice of magic and sorcery and divination.
Okay. Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Do we have any other? Whoop, we got more.
There is, other than Liber Null, what texts on the subject would you consider essential?
Condensed chaos.
Yeah, Heinz books, Condensed Chaos and Prime
Dave
Chaos.
Lee, anything by Dave
Lee's.
Lee.
Yeah, Dave Lee did Chaotopia, and he just recently published, what was his last book called? I can't remember. It's really good though. Dave Lee, Ramsey Dukes, Lionel Snell, we mentioned his book. So really influential in the beginning of Chaos Magic was Ramsey Dukes' book, Sex Secrets of the Black Magicians Exposed.
Oh, what is that?
Not fiddling.
Super tongue-in-cheek, amazing book. He's a brilliant thinker. And there aren't a lot of women authors of Chaos Magic popularly. Jack Hawkins is the most famous one. She wrote Chaos Monkey and a couple of others. Yeah.
What did you say? What was going
Chaos Monkey, Jack Hawkins book.
on? Okay.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Julian Vane's written some really good ones. Some of the early ones, as well as some more contemporary ones.
And unfortunately, I used to carry Phil Hine books and Elkins fallen out of contact. So
Oh no.
I've been trying to bring in more of my Chaos Magic section.
Yeah, you got those Chaos Magic books back here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Gordon Light's book. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. I got a question, if you don't mind sharing. What would you tell yourselves, your younger selves, as you were entering this space?
What would I have told my younger
Yeah.
self?
Now, like if you look
Oh,
back,
if I could tell my 14-year-old self to just like stop dicking around with doing mushrooms and like read a book, I probably would have done that. The mushrooms are fun, but the book is what.
Well, I would probably tell my younger self that this is one of the most important things I'm going to do in my life is start taking this stuff seriously for myself and for other people.
I would probably not tell my younger self.
So what is the interest level on doing a little kind of group ritual? Oh, did you have a question? Yeah.
So without getting too bogged down by duality or duality, what do you feel the relation between one's mind and body within the lens of this? That's a really tough one, but I'm curious.
You keep throwing those softballs at us. We're gonna keep knocking them out into the.
So I'm not sure. I think that disease exists on like a spectrum of severity.
Of course, severe disease.
So, I mean, you can't really.
What, secret stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah,
This-
it's kind of loaded.
I think that to say, if you believe hard enough, you will reverse your illness is unkind and not helpful for many people.
Yeah.
I think that there are extraordinary cases in which people can magic their way out of severe illness, but I think that those are extraordinary cases.
Yeah.
Related to that though, those are the kinds of stories that keep people coming back, sort of thing.
Yeah. I mean,
Like I've had a few.
Well, I wasn't going to specify.
I was just gonna say I've had a few
No.
friends.
I'm not going to specify, but I'll just say that like I came into this expecting literally zero expectations and also having hypercritical mind, always questioning everything, like, is this real? Is this actually happening? And I have seen some things happen now where I'm like, I don't even know how, like, these odds, these statistics, percentages do not make sense. They shouldn't happen, but they do. Yeah, I'll just leave it at that. I won't say anything.
Imagine.
So if there are people, like, obviously, if this is not for you, I will say now, thank you very much for coming, and you are free to go with no hard feelings, but we have a little, oh, more questions.
There is another question.
Okay.
Very good question. How?
This question is for Elvex.
Oh, yeah.
Uh-oh.
The chaos sphere is abuzz with news about North American IoT breaking up because of abuses to power.
No,
No.
that didn't happen.
Thank you for the question.
Yeah.
So, do you have any recommendations for folks who are online with regard to the ritual?
Sure.
aspect?
So it will be collaborative among the people in the room.
Yeah.
The folks at home are welcome to join along. There will be some pranayama that anyone can do. And the only other tool you need is your brain for visualization. Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, so they can just follow along. We are going to create the ritual together as a group. If anyone wants to go at any time, again, feel free.
This is an opt-in.
Yeah.
Opt-out. Yep.
Yeah,
So-
it's a simple. it's a
Also,
simple thing.
not too serious either.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Yeah, it just illustrates some of the things that we've talked about. Some of the things that are again common in chaos magic, sigils, altered states of consciousness, easy access altered states of consciousness. We're not asking
We're just
anyone
breathing.
to like
Nobody's
Yeah.
gonna be smoking DMT today.
no one's gonna
Yeah.
get tied to the tree of woe overnight. But
So what's something everyone in the room probably wants? Just yell it out.
Like a desired goal.
What do you need
In your
right
life.
now in your life?
Coffee.
Money.
Coffee.
Coffee? That's easy to
Okay.
achieve for. I hear money. Anybody not need money in the room? Like, we all would like a little more money, maybe?
Okay.
That's a great goal. I think we can all get behind it in
Money?
this capitalist hellscape
Okay,
we live in.
Just like random occurrences of money. Okay.
Yeah, just more money than we have. Mo money.
no money.
All right.
Mo money.
More money.
No
More
money.
money.
All right. So we are together going to enchant for mo money. All right. So we're gonna make a little sigil together. You can, if I hand this to you, you can.
Yeah, so what we're going to do here is yeah.
Let's just do it.
So yeah, well, okay, so but they have no idea what they're doing.
I'm gonna tell them.
Okay.
You're gonna hear what to do while I tell you.
Oh, yeah. Please do.
We give you more money.
Right, right.
So if anyone is not familiar with the process of drawing a sigil, typically we will start by removing the vowels and any duplicate letters in the statement of intent. This is a very short statement of intent. It is 3 consonants. Okay, so 3 of you will have a chance to draw a letter here on the white part of the paper. Okay, 1 person will draw the first letter of your choosing, cross it out, and then I'll hand it to the next person. Just add it on in some way, make it look cool if you want, or if you don't care, you don't care. We'll have 3 letters all together. We'll give this to and we'll give this to Qurok, and sorry,
Okay.
and they'll make it look cool, and then Elvex will do a little visualization for everyone. Yeah.
Yeah, so since there's so few letters, do we want to go ahead and use the
whole thing.
The whole thing? I mean, just throw an O and an E in there.
All right.
Yeah. So are we gonna have this just to
Yeah.
5 people? Is that what's going to happen?
Just write one of those 5 letters and cross it out. You would rather not? Okay.
Okay.
Write a letter. Write one of those 3 letters, those 5 letters. And then cross it out. Cross this. Okay. So you could add a letter to make a new.
Yeah, just, you're trying to just make a shape.
So is that considered like along this the Y? Yeah. All right. Then O, an E, or an M are your choices. Okay. No? Would you like to add a letter? Or thank you. Would you like to add the last letter?
Oh, sure.
Thank you. All right. So Qurok is going to take this sigil and just neaten it up a little and write it bigger in Sharpie so that we can all see it here on the floor.
Or maybe when folks are sitting and we have 2 layers
can
of
hold
folks, we can hold it.
Sure.
So,
The Vanna White of Chaos Magic.
and then we'll do, so the thing we're going to do today is, we mentioned Phil Farber's Brain Magic book earlier. Part of this comes from Phil. I've done a lot of work with Phil's stuff over the years, including a few workshops with him, because he's a really swell guy. In a lot of ways, I think Phil's work embodies something that Carol once wrote. What is that?
Now it looks magic to me.
Yeah, right. Okay, so, and then we're gonna do, how do you want to do the pranayama?
Elvex will lead you through some visualization, after which I will lead you through a very easy breathing exercise.
Do we want to
Explain it now.
explain the breathing now?
The breathing exercise is fully inhale,
Yeah.
fully exhale at a fairly rapid pace without pausing at the bottom or the top of the breath, like this. It won't last too long. You will get really high if you do it for a long time.
Is there anyone that's gonna have problems with that, like with breathing?
I actually got sound.
Okay. Yeah, it's good.
Sorry. Oh, no, I can't get out.
Part of the church.
Should I?
That's exactly the skateboard.
All right.
Okay, so we're gonna start by arranging in a circle,
No,
right?
No,
You don't
yeah,
have to
let's,
do that.
yeah, we
We're
want
gonna-
to do this.
We're gonna
yeah.
decide. Okay.
Yeah, because
We don't have
I
to
think,
ABC either.
Okay.
so
Well,
I think
that's not it.
space wise, yeah, this is fine. So, yeah, so I'll just talk you through some stuff. Can everyone see this okay? Good enough for this like little exercise that we're doing? The worst thing that's gonna happen is nothing. The best thing that's gonna happen is you'll get some.
Very simple.
Okay. So, all right, so let's start with, so since we're going to be doing some breathing, let's just do a little body space awareness. So if you want to participate, you can just, with your eyes open or closed, you can just breathe in. And as you breathe in, allow your awareness to expand to fill the space. As you exhale, bring your awareness back in to your center. Don't worry too much about what your center is. Any center is fine. And just do that a few times, just to connect with your breath, connect with your body, connect with the space. And with your eyes open or closed still, You can imagine or recall a time when you had a beneficial influx of money, of wealth. Just think about some time when that happened to you in your past. If that's never happened for you, you can imagine what that would be like if it happened. And you can think about what you see in that vision, in that image in your mind. Are there any entities, any people, buildings, things in your field of vision? Are there any movements or stillnesses, any words that are written? And that idea of words can lead you into thinking about what you hear in that image. Are there any sounds? Are there any noises, music, anything around you that's making a sound? Or maybe there's quiet, maybe there's silence. Then you can think about how you feel in this image. What are you touching, or what is touching you? How do you feel emotionally? And where in your body you feel that feeling, or multiple feelings? And then ask yourself, if this feeling had a color, what color would that feeling be? There's no right or wrong answer. It's just whatever feels right. What color would you associate with that feeling? You can think about where that color is in your body, if you feel it located in your body. And then make that color richer, brighter, more vibrant, deeper, and let it begin to expand. Let it go through your entire body until you are completely suffused in that color.
Now, you're thinking of this particular color, and we will begin to breathe fully, deeply, at a fairly quick pace. Fully, completely fill your lungs, completely empty your lungs. With each inhalation, the color gets more saturated. With each exhalation, you can feel the power of this color building within you. Every inhalation makes this color stronger. Every exhalation makes it glow brighter. Let's breathe a little faster.
And when you feel ready, you can open your eyes and look at the sigil while you continue breathing. And as you breathe out, project that color into the sigil, suffusing the sigil with the color.
Every exhalation is going to push that color in deeper until you can feel this sigil glowing. You can feel the power of the sigil growing and glowing with every exhalation. And finally, with a huge exhalation, push every bit of air of your lungs out and push all of the energy into the sigil. And then we laugh to vanish. Anyway, that was the teamless possible chaos magic ritual we could have done in here because it is live streamed and who knows who's watching. Thank you guys for coming tonight. We're totally down to continue talking, but we know a lot of people probably got things to do. So we're excited.
Great. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you. Does anyone want the money?